to as well. We are a little over 1 year away for launching our XFL, and that is our professional football brand with our chairwoman, Danny Garcia, and our other partner, Gerry Cardinale from RedBird Capital. And we should maybe within the next month or maybe 2 months, we're going to be announcing our broadcast partners, which we're very excited about, and new teams, new cities, and very excited about that. And again, as a former player myself, what an opportunity it is to create an opportunity for other players to live out their dream and take care of their families. So excited about that. So bring on 2022.
Let's do it, DJ. And we always are so grateful for your time. You got everybody's attention as always. Have a great holiday.
All right. So there you have it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on CNBC. We're a little over 1 year away from watching our XFL. This is our professional football thing. We're announcing our broadcast partners, which we're very excited about, new teams and new cities, and we're very excited about that. That was from The Rock on CNBC's TechCheck. They were there to talk about the tequila business, Teremana Tequila, the movie Red Notice, which was good, and breaking records on Netflix and some of his other projects. And then The Rock was the one that brought up the XFL, let's point out. So the co-owner of the XFL dropped the bomb coming in 1 to 2 months from the XFL. So January and February, we will get TV partners, teams, new teams, and new cities. So, of course, this then lit the Twitter sphere on fire, and your comments too, and we'll get into those in a little bit. Basically, by the end of February, we'll learn all this new thing. So let the speculation begin. Now, for me personally, I've talked about this before many a times. I really believe that, in my opinion, I think Houston or Dallas are going to move to San Antonio as a possibility. We've talked about that. We've done videos about the XFL talking to San Antonio after the season was over, something that they did after they shut down. The other one is the Tampa Bay Vipers potentially moving to Orlando. I think that's a possibility. People are asking, why didn't the XFL go into, San Antonio or San Diego back then? Because at the time when they were planning the team names and logos, they were staying away from AAF cities. Now that the AAF is gone, and even when the AAF was gone then, clearly they were thinking about and looking at these other cities. I think you could have a real home run hitter with St. Louis, Seattle, DC, throw a team in San Diego and the team in San Antonio and revitalize those disenfranchised NFL fans, and even in a new city like San Antonio, I think would do well. And then, of course, the Vipers to Orlando would be good. So that's kind of where that is. He mentioned new teams, new cities. I don't know if we'll get something on the level of, a Mexico team or a London team or a Canadian team. I don't see that as a possibility, just because I think that that's extra expense outside of what they were doing before. I think you could stick with 8 teams, tweaking things a little bit. The Roughnecks will get a new logo, of course, because of the whole deal with the Houston Oilers. We also had issues with the Dallas Renegades logo, dealing with that. The Houston Roughnecks will be completely, and this is their chance to potentially go and change the whole, and unfortunately, because everybody liked the Roughnecks, is moving them to San Antonio. That would be my 100% speculation when he talks about new teams and new cities. I think the Roughnecks team will be away. I think the name will, but the logo. But new cities, I think that's the safe play. These guys, are thinking long term. Mike Mitchell talked about on the Markcast, which you definitely got to check out, that there was talk a little bit about not even going after the CFL talks shut down, that there was some chatter about whether or not they even wanted to go down this path. So I think they're going to go down the path. They're all in, clearly hiring all these people. We'll get into those in a little bit. But I think I don't see anything outside of the box of that 8, at least for the first year. And if you're building content to as part of this plan, why would you the first year in itself will generate buzz and content about bringing the league back and with the 8 teams and starting that. There's so much content to be had for that first season buildup. Wait for season 2 or season 3 to add teams, because then that's a whole new level of content that you can talk about and be part of the league if you're trying to do this 365, year-round plan that Mike Mitchell has talked about and Danny Garcia has hinted at. But man, if you want to take a swing and a home run shot, putting a team in Mexico would be certainly a big shot there. But then you have 9 teams, and then what do you do? Do you put somebody in Chicago? Do you put somebody in Canada? Do you do Toronto? Maybe there's another city in Canada you might be interested in. Lots of speculation, but here's the fun part, my friends. We're going to get answers soon. It's not going to be 10 years from now. It's not going to be 10 months from now. It is going to be legitimately in January and February at the latest. Because if based on the timeline, if we're going to have combines in June, you need a TV deal to come out. You need the TV deal to lure coaches, in my opinion. So you want that, not that they aren't already potentially reaching out to coaches now. You're going to try to, by having a good broadcast package, will help you lure coaches and players. That's part number one. So the TV package, to me, needs to come out first. Tease the cities every day. Release a new city name. Let the buzz, let people talk about it. Don't just come out with all 8 cities and be like, here it is. Each day, come out with a new one. Even if you need, drop the broadcast package, wait a week or two, and say you're having 8 teams returning to the XFL or 10 teams. 10 teams would blow the spring football internet, Twitterverse, whatever you want to call it, out the water if there was some kind of that there was 10 teams, because then everybody would be freaking out to see what the team names are. That's what we have going for. The Rock made a point to talk about that in his interview. Watched the whole thing, and it was really at the end where he brought up the XFL news, and I was like, man, I should have watched it live. I knew he was on there, but I really didn't think he would talk about the XFL, and he did. These little nuggets, these little tidbits that get picked up by people like us, then get put out there. This is going to feed that system as we get bigger and bigger, and then some of the other all these little nuggets that are dropped are really for XFL fans, if you think about it. This is not the mainstream media picked up some of the things that The Rock had said, but there's no official press release. So nothing really got picked up. It's just basically us on social media pumping it. And, of course, The Rock pumping it as well. If you didn't see that the last time I checked, now fans can go check that now, his TechCheck clip on Instagram at the time that I wrote this article, which was early in the morning, has 317,857 likes. And at the time, this is to his 285 million followers. Big thing that he wrote about. He said, quote, and finally, for all us pro football fans, we are a little over 1 year away from the exciting and highly anticipated 2023 spring football debut of our XFL. We have taken the time to build out a truly exceptional and hungry football organization. Cool. On top of 2022, we'll be excited and proud to announce our new broadcast partners, new teams, new cities, new innovations, new alignments, and much more. Did anybody pick up on that? As an XFL owner and a man whose NFL dream never came true, this is full circle passion venture for me, where now I can help create opportunities for players to live out their dreams and take care of their families. Here's to building out the game of football. So at the time of the writing, it was 2.1 million views in 3 days, that video. In the clip, he talks about broadcast partners. But did you hear that part? In the clip, he talks about new broadcast partners, new teams, new cities. But the Post talks about new innovations, new alignments, and much more. New innovation and new alignments. That got me thinking. So Mike Mitchell said on this week's Markcast, the XFL could look a bit different from what we knew in the 2.0 era. He's mentioned that multiple times in articles that he's had. What do you think that means? New alignments and new innovations. Are we talking about chips and footballs? I was thinking about this the other day. If I'm Major League Baseball, I am so working on a AI computer that can call balls and strikes. I know some of you purists out there, and that's just get the call right. I don't care about this other stuff. Maybe that's what the XFL is not maybe trying to replace referees with robots from Tesla, which would be out of control. We're not anywhere near that. A chip in the ball was something that was talked about in the 2.0 era, being able to get instant access to like the velocity of the ball that was thrown, some other statistical kind of nerd things. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's really interesting, and I love to say that word, the new innovations and new alignments. Does that mean teams in different cities get moved around? What do you think? Leave us a comment, especially new innovations and new alignments. What do you think that means? That will be our question for next week. This week's question is talking about the teams, what The Rock had said, not only in the clip, but in his post. We'll get into the new alignments and new innovations next week. But for you, new teams, new cities, that's the question of the week. We want to hear your thoughts on that. So really surprising, great little Christmas present from DJ. We're allowed to call DJ. I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, the boss is on TV. When Danny Garcia is on or The Rock is on, it's like, hey, there's the boss. Gave us a nice little Christmas present for XFL fans to chew on, and not for a long time. We're going to get some answers here soon, my friends.